Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Bhididitam Kalma Shapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees at the premises of Sri Girish Chandra Ghosh, his householder devotee, in North Kolkata on Wednesday, the 25th of February 1885. On his way to the Star Theatre, where Sri Ramakrishna was proceeding with his devotees for a trip to see a drama, we have discussed that apparently we do not consider these as spiritual practices. To go to a cinema, or in those days, drama, which was very popular, even if it is now popular, but is not so common. Because Sri Ramakrishna's idea is the holistic approach towards life. This we have to understand. We have to understand the philosophy and the practical application. We are extremely fortunate to be born in post Ramakrishna era. We have scriptures since thousands of years, and rishis of yore have realized the truth. But the realization is of variable dimension, degree, and quality. So far, we were influenced by the realizations of the saints and seers who were born before Sri Ramakrishna. Their ideas and philosophy and realization are accepted truth and is recounted by the devotees and followed, and a path of spiritual discipline has been chalked out, well laid. But Sri Ramakrishna is giving something more, which was there in the scriptures, but which could not be revealed so far and practiced in our day-to-day life. So this philosophy has to be Neo Vedanta. First should be read and heard, then it should be cogitated, well thought out, and thirdly, to be implemented in our life. Should be a part and parcel of our life. Religion is realization, being and becoming. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. It is not only an academic pursuit, a matter of research and study. That is necessary, and then that is necessary for our understanding, for our intellectual comprehension. Unless we are intellectually convinced, We cannot accept it. We should not accept it. It should be first read or heard. Shrotabhya. Then it should be cogitated. Mantabhya is not enough to hear. It has to be cogitated, analyzed, reasoned out in our mind. And then nididhyasitabhya. It should be implemented in our life and see the result, verified by our own self, not by others. That is a scientific approach towards religion, what Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna is constantly telling us to do. In order to accept anything, first we must be intellectually convinced. Intellectual conviction is necessary. So there should be a very careful study of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It is not only a devotional book, it is a book of knowledge. So here Sri Ramakrishna gives an integration of jnana and bhakti, knowledge and devotion. We know there has been a constant fight, controversy, difference of opinion regarding the supremacy of knowledge or devotion. There are clearly two distinct schools of thoughts. One is the Jnana Marga, another is Bhakti Marga. All along, throughout the history of the Indian spirituality and religion, the Jnana Marga is those who believe in the path of knowledge. They have one way of understanding, one way of realization, and headed by the spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, like Bhagavan Buddha. These are all spiritual, this genius. They have realized the truth, they have chalked out, they have laid out books. And another is school of thoughts, the Bhakti Margi. There are those who followed the path of devotion, like Chaitanya Dev, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, all the schools of devotion. Whereas the Jnana Marga tries to proclaim the supremacy, is the most important word, supremacy of Jnana over Bhakti. And based on their realization, it's not bogus. And Bhakti Marga is also saying the supremacy of devotion based on the realization. So the Jnana Marga says, which is intellectually reasonable. Everyone is saying, both the Jnana Marga and Bhakti Marga, that God is supreme. There is a God in this universe, which is supreme, which is infinite, which has no bounds. They are called the Astik Darshan. There is an Astik Darshan. Atheists, those who believe there is a God in this universe, and they believe in the Vedas. The Vedas are their ultimate authority. Whatever they say, they quote the verses from the Vedas as their scriptural authenticity, number one. That is necessary. Shruti. The Shruti means Vedas, ultimate books. And Vedas are not the results of any author. It's not composed by anybody. Like ordinary books, there is an author, a writer. Vedas are not composed out of the brain of any person. They are truths revealed. Truths revealed. Truth is there in the nature. It is discovered. It is not invented, it is discovered. The law of gravitation in physics, which Newton discovered, he didn't invent this law. The law, the phenomenon existed even before him and even after him. He recognized the phenomenon as the law of gravitation. The apples went on falling from the tree from time immemorial. But seeing the falling of apple, he discovered there must be law behind, and he laid down the law of gravitation. The gravitation, there is a force of attraction, a power of gravitation. Similarly, our rishis, they discovered the spiritual laws. It was there automatically. So they say, how did they then these mantras which are written in the Vedas, who composed it? They say it was already there. They have seen the mantras. Please understand. They have not composed it. They have seen the mantras. Mantra drashta. Those who have seen the mantras written in golden words, actually seen in vision, in a super normal vision, they saw. And then, how did they write? They did not write because there is no vocabulary in those days. No alphabets were discovered. Then how did they remember? They have a wonderful power of memory. Whatever they saw, they remembered and they carried forward to their next generation of disciples by word of mouth. So they reproduced whatever they saw, they reproduced in words. The words were heard by their disciples, and then same words were reproduced to the next generation of disciples. And this is how it was carried down. That's why our scriptures are called Shruti, heard. They are not in print. Print came much later. Whatever is written in Sanskrit, old archaic Sanskrit in Vedas, that is much later edition. From time immemorial, it was already present, and then it was seen by the realized rishis, then it was transferred through Shruti to their disciples, and it came down. So our Indian philosophical thoughts, most of them are having their authority to the Vedas. Not all, there are some who differ. Those who refer to these thoughts, they are called Astikya Darshan. Those who believe that God is there, there is a God in this universe. There are some people, nevertheless, who believe there is no God. There is Nirishwarvadi, they are Nastikya Darshan, atheists. Like Buddhism, Charbak, Lokayat Darshan, they are still there. And interestingly, for our interesting knowledge, interesting this information, the most people of the world belong to the second category. They are the Nirishwarvadi. They believe there is no God in this universe. We believe that the whole world is religious. That is bogus, nonsense. Only a handful number of people throughout the world belong to this atheist group, this non-atheist, Astika Darshan, atheist and non-atheist. So, now, what is their idea? Just for the cause of interest, they say that there is no God in this universe. Buddha, one of the avatars of Hindu tradition, is an avatara. He declared there is no God. Very interesting. But there is another way of understanding. So, they have a different set of understanding. There is no God. It is running on its own without the intervention of any personal God. It's automatic. And there is another Charbak Darshan, which is most popular both in the East and the West. They say that there is no reason to believe in a God because it is not visible. Let us accept whatever is visible and verifiable by our sense organs. We have got sense organs for verification. We are living beings. We have got eyes, ears, nose, throat, tongue, with which we can verify. So whatever is verifiable truth, let us accept. Which is not verifiable, let us reject. God is not visible. God doesn't appear before us all on a sudden. Those who say God may appear by your meditation is all bogus. If God is true, it must appear as you and me. So whatever is accepted by our sense organs, let us accept it. When a person dies, some people say that it is reborn. There is no guarantee. Apparently. So when a person dies, his body is cremated, burnt, it vanishes. It never comes. So their idea is Lokaya Darshan, popular philosophy. They say that our existence in the life, still we are in this body. So as long as you are in the body, let us eat, drink and enjoy as much as we can. Because after we are dead, there is no certainty what will happen. So let us not believe in anything. Let us accept this world as an opportunity for enjoyment. Eat, drink and be in merry by hook or by crook. Even if you do something wrong, after you die, you are not going to come back to pay the debt. Even it requires to take a loan, cheat others for your enjoyment, go ahead. That's why their philosophy accepted in this in our country, and which is unwritten, accepted throughout the world. Charbak Darshan. There was a Rishi Charbak. There are similar people even now. I don't mention the names. They are also propagating the same philosophy. Their idea is Jabat Jivet Sukham Jivet. Be in merry as long as you live. That is the philosophy of most people of the world even now. Jabat Jivet Sukham Jivet. If you do not have money, what to do? Rinam Kritva Ghitam Pibet. If you want to have churned butter, you don't have money to purchase, you take loan from anywhere it is available. Then the question is, who will repay? You take the loan, who will repay? Then he says, Bhasmi Bhutasya Dehasya Punaragamanam Kuta. Having a large debt, if you die, your body will be burnt, you will be vanished. You are not there to repay. Those who are remaining, let them understand. I am gone. So we go on enjoying. If the body, if the life becomes too miserable, unbearable, commit suicide. But it's there. You don't come back. Let's put an end of this journey. So that is their idea. Bhasmi bhutasya dhyasya punaragamanam kuta. It is very popular to understand, but it's not tenable with intellect. Science says nothing can vanish. Every cause has an effect. It's a transformation of one state to another. If a piece of camphor or iodine, solid piece, disappears, it does not matter, it has vanished. It is appearing in a gaseous form. It can be condensed and brought back to the camphor state. If water is boiled, it becomes steam. It doesn't vanish. It can be condensed and brought to the state of water also. The change of state is possible, liquid to gaseous, gaseous to solid, like water. The liquid, then gaseous, and come back to liquid. And then when solidified, it becomes ice. The transformation of ice into water and water into steam is not a vanishing. We cannot be vanished. And there is umpteen number of reasons and this understanding and facts where it proves transmigration of soul. The soul never dies. Recently, just a day before, I saw one video short. Say boy whose name is registered with the photograph on 11th September 2011. There was a crash of twin towers in New York. We know there was a crash of twin towers in New York. Then the plane hit in the twin towers and a lot of deaths. One person on the parachuters of US, this Royal Force, Air Force, young man, he jumped out of the window. His photograph is also there. His jumping photograph. He jumped and he died, instantly died. His photograph and background is rotated in the annals of those who died. Now recently a child is born in New York, and since when he is 2 years old, he is telling he is that person. Now the incident happened much earlier than his birth. Nobody told him. There is no history. He is telling on his own and is giving an experience that how it was attacked by a plane, how he jumped out and is terribly afraid, and his incidents, it has made their parents flabbergasted. It has become a very viral now. The US government is forced to believe transmigration of soul. How is it possible? He is reproducing. His mother says, I am convinced. Without any information, he is relating all these stories. As a real life person, his personal experience, how he felt, how was the fear, what happened in those days. There is no eyewitness now. Eyewitness of those who survived. There is no eyewitness of those who died. It's not possible. This person gives the eyewitness description, what he saw before and after. So anyway, so this has been proved in our traditional thoughts. This Charbak Darshan is not accepted in our country, fortunately. Though this is accepted throughout the world as the ongoing belief and unfortunately being copied to a great extent by our people here, but fortunately our country stands because of their allegiance to the original spiritual thoughts that God is. There is an existence of God. Now, when God is there, then there is an attempt, an endeavor, a sincere effort to reveal and understand what is the nature of this God. This is the crux of our spiritual journey, our inquiry. If God is there, then how does He look like? What is His nature? So the rishis of yore, for thousands of years, they made a research and they arrived at the truth. Fortunately, it's not hazy. They have arrived at the truth. And when they arrived at the truth, they have recounted. They have written, this is the nature of God I have seen. And this is the method by which I have seen, you can follow and you can also see. That is the scientific approach. The scientific approach, if you are convinced of an experiment, you document it, the literature is given, and anybody can do that, repeat that experiment and arrive at the same truth. So those who follow the path of jnana, knowledge, they say that ultimately God is one. There is no two, God is one. And interestingly, those who followed the other paths, all the paths, they all arrived at the same conclusion, God is one. Now those who are following the path of knowledge, they see if God is one and one only, then it must be infinity. If there is no two, only one, there is infinity. God is one. And everybody accepts this, God is infinity. God has no deficiency, full, infinite. Now those who follow the path of knowledge, they see if God is infinity, that is the ultimate reality, then all we see around us is many. We see variety. So if the truth of God is the reality, then what we see around us is a myth. Both cannot exist together. One and many cannot exist together. If God alone is true, then everything else is false. It's an appearance. It cannot be real. Both cannot be real, one and many, because you deny God is one. So everything you see is a manifestation of God. And this is the realizable truth. So when you go deep in the meditation, then all this world around us, they vanishes and only God exists. That's what they say. So they say that we have discussed this, the different states of our experience, existence are only transient, temporary. They give an example. When we are awake, we see many people around us. When you fall asleep, we dream. What happens to the world? Where do they go? They vanish? They don't exist. When you are dreaming, then this world around us vanishes. We don't see anybody. And similarly, when you go to deep sleep, then even dream world vanishes. We do not see anything else. We are in a state of ignorance. So which is true? Our wakeful state, dream state, or deep sleep state? They say that none of these three are true. We have a fourth state, that is super sensuous, super conscious, where we realize our identity with God. From that point of view, that alone is true. These are all temporary existence. This waking world is completely in consonance of our understanding, intellect, reasoning. This wakeful world exists as long as we are awake. When you go to the dream state, wakeful world vanishes. When you go to deep sleep, dream world vanishes. When you go to the super conscious state, then all the wakeful world, the world around us, dream world and ignorance world vanishes. Then we are in super conscious experience, that is called samadhi. They say that samadhi state is realizable. Anybody can have samadhi. When all the existence get merged and we realize our identity with God. In order to attain this stage of samadhi, any amount of discipline may be followed. You follow jnana, bhakti, whatever you want, but ultimately the realization has to converge in this. When you arrive at the one, then the variety has to be condoned. This is their way of life. The schools of bhakti, they say, no, there is a personal God. This God is there in a personal human form, which can be felt by our sense organs. And that is also infinity. And the jiva is also there. So they believe in two. The Advaita Balaam is one without a second. Advaita, non-dual. The Bhakti Marg is a dualism. There is a God and the devotees. Ishvara, Jiva, Bhagavan, Bhakt. The two they accept. Now the Advaitis claim the two cannot be the ultimate reality. If God is infinity, then there is no space for bhakta. Both, there cannot be two infinities converging with each other. Infinity can be one. So either you say bhakta is there or Bhagavan is there. If only Bhagavan is there, what happens with the bhaktas? Where do they go? Do they vanish? So this has been the constant controversy. Nevertheless, the schools of the bhakti, they stand on their realization. They say God is present as Krishna, as Rama, as Buddha, as Chaitanya. It can be seen. People have seen him. So they say that both God and the devotees, they coexist in this Chinmaya roop, not in this physical roop, in this conscious state, super conscious state. They coexist. Now herein comes Sri Ramakrishna, that is his greatest contribution. He makes a reconciliation. Wonderful. When you study this, you'll be surprised that what a masterpiece is his thought, his understanding, his research and his realization, passing it over to us. He says both are true. So his idea is transcending, goes beyond the Advaita idea. He has said, in this body I have realized what is transpersed in your Vedas and Vedantas, what is not written. I have realized that also. He transcends even the Vedic knowledge and understanding by his own realization. Who told him? He has realized. But a new interpretation of the truth. Truth is not invented, truth is there, but new revelation has come. He says that the path of bhakta is not bogus, it is also true. When the devotee concentrates, when he negates this world, neti neti, ultimately he arrives at the reality, he denies the dream world, the sapna, jagrat. See, there are three states of our existence: Jagrat, Sapna, Shushupti. Either in the wakeful state, conscious state, Chetan Avastha, or we are dreaming in Avachetan state, subconscious state, Swapna Avastha, or we are in deep sleep, fast asleep, in the Achetan Avastha, unconscious. And there is the fourth state, which is superconscious, Ati Chetan, Turiya Avastha, where we interact with God. Now, the Jnana Margis, they deny. They say all these three states are bogus, only the Ati Chetan exists. The Bhaktas do not deny. They say, no, all these four states are existing. How to deny? But you should try to reconcile. Negation is not the solution. You have to reconcile that all are equally true. How that is possible? That Sri Ramakrishna explains. He gives 4 examples. That when the devotee continuously ponders on the worshipper, the God, then it becomes identified with God. That is to be understood. The God and the devotee gets merged due to the excess of love. Wonderful theory. When a person loves another person, there is a difference. When a love culminates, then they become identified. Both merge together. So this is called the another way of understanding Vishishta Advaita. This is already there by Ramanujacharya. The qualified non-dualism, Vishishta Advaita, the culmination of one and many. They say that there is everything merges into one identity, like there is a garden, wax garden. You know wax museum? You have seen wax museum. It is very popular in the West. Here also there is a wax museum. Everything made of wax. Momer Bagan. There is different forms, but then everything is made of wax. If you melt, the entire garden will become only wax, nothing else. Out of the wax, you make different forms. Everything is made of wax. So when the knowledge becomes supreme, then the person sees God within and God without. The Jnana Margi sees God within and denies the world, God outside. He gets merged with the God within. The Bhakti Margi integrates the God within and God without, making him the one with second. One with many. Everything becomes one. God within and God without. This is the ultimate climax, what Swami Vivekananda says. বহু রূপে সন্মুখে তোমার ছাড়ি কোথা খুঁজিতে ঈশ্বর জীবে প্রেম করে যেই জন সেই জন সেবিছি. She is in Bengali. He says, the same God which is present within you, whom you have been searching and you have realized, the same God is present everywhere around you. Is the holistic view of life. Serve the God, whoever comes in front of you as a form, as a representation. The God in reality, whoever comes. A person is nursing a sick, take him as a representation of God. God the sick, God the illiterate, God the poor, God the hungry, God the ignorant. Serve them as your worship and become free. In the ultimate realization, this doesn't become a theoretical knowledge, it becomes a practical understanding. Sri Ramakrishna says, I see you as God. আমি সবই রাম দেখছি. When we realize God as Ramchandra, there our duality, religious philosophy attains the culmination. The goal of life is to see God. The Jnana Margi sees God as one without a second in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The Bhakti Margi sees God as his Ishta. One worships God. Hanumanji sees God as Rama. When he sees Rama, his method is fulfilled. He has seen Rama. But the person who has transcended both bhakti and jnana, he sees Rama not only as in his ishta but in everything around. Jatro jatro netro pore, tatro tatro Krishna sphure. Wherever the eyes go, I see Krishna and Krishna alone. And this has actually happened in the realization of Srimati. Sri Ramakrishna says, the recorded in the scriptures of the Bhagavatam is nothing new. In the Bhagavatam, the climax of love has been portrayed by Srimati Radhika. What love is, how much love can go, prema, Vishuddha prema, has been demonstrated, illustrated and realized by Srimati Radhika, recorded in the books of scriptures. Recorded by no other than Shukadeva. He is recounted, eaten by Vasudeva. And Radha loves Sri Krishna more than anything else. And when the love deepens, then it transcends the body consciousness. Normally we feel love is between two human beings, physical love. Whenever there is something in return, in expectation, that is not love, that is kama. Prema and kama should be identified clearly. Wherever there is any motive behind, it is business, it is vyapar, there is no love. Love does not want no any return. Whenever we love someone, when we expect something in return, that is business, that is prema, that is kama, passion. That cannot be true love. In love, there is nothing to be accepted. Love ends in itself. Love is supreme, very pure, immaculate. It does not expect anything in return. By loving, I am satisfied. I don't want anything else. There it ends. And when you love someone, not only I want nothing, but I want to give my everything. That is second point. I don't want anything, but I want to offer my everything for my object of love. That's why you find a mother does not want anything from his child by feeding her, by feeding him, by nursing him, but want to give anything. While the child is in womb, the mother does give everything. And it comes out also, he has the same attitude, the token of love. So in a love, that is, first point, I don't want anything in return. Secondly, I want to give everything. To the extent that I want to forget myself. The third point, I not only want to give everything, I want to be merged in your personality. That is the climax of love. There it ends. That is the culmination of religion. When the lover and the beloved becomes one, two becomes one, both becomes infinity together. Both coexist. The lover is immortal, so is beloved. Premashpada and Prem both become, that's why it's called love is immortal. Not only the beloved is immortal, love is immortal. Prem amar hai. Prem ka kabhi die nahi hota hai. So here he says that Srimati became thinking of Krishna all around. He sees Krishna everywhere. When Krishna vanished in Vrindavan, because they had some ego, when Krishna called them, they came from Vrindavan to the dark forest, and they were very happy in the company of Krishna. They felt little egotistic that Krishna, God belongs to us. God does not want our ego. It crushes. Whenever Krishna found they are egotistic, they are possessive of God, he vanished. When God vanished, they become mad by this pang of separation. And in search of God, their love became manifested. How much they loved, that became manifested. And Srimati saw God everywhere. Even the trees, in the forest, in the leaves, everywhere. And she saw God in herself also. That is the climax. Srimati saw Krishna as herself. She was playing the flute. Her teammate said, "What happened? You are behaving like Krishna." She was playing the flute as if she became Krishna. That is the climax of religion. That Sri Ramakrishna says, it happens. He gives a common day example. In a medical science, as I said, when a person has jaundice, there is an excess of bile within the body, for which he sees everything YOLO. World is same. But a person having a disease of jaundice see YOLO everything, because his eyes have become YOLO. So his outlook has changed. Srimati's outlook has changed. He has got the jaundice of Sri Krishna. He sees everything as Sri Krishna. While we are seeing everything as normal, blue, white, red. But the person of jaundice sees everything yellow. So similarly, he says, another example, when you put a piece of lead in a tank of mercury, these are all scientific examples Sri Ramakrishna is giving, which corroborates with science. You put a piece of lead in a tank of mercury, because both have similar composition, the lead melts into mercury. Lead loses its identity. It becomes mercury. When you keep a piece of iron in a magnetic field, the iron becomes magnet. In fact, that is the process by which magnets are made. by putting a systematic in a magnetic field. It was iron, it becomes magnet. The jiva becomes God. Another example he gives. This cockroach and Kumari insect. Jhingur or Kumari poka. Arshola Kumari poka. We know cockroaches, they are different. And it is eaten by an insect, it's called Kumare poka. झिंगूर को खा लेते हैं. झिंगूर का डर रहता है कब खा लेंगे. तो डर के वजह से वो उनका चिंतन करते हैं. The cockroach constantly thinks of the Kumari insect lest it gets eaten by the Kumari poka. It is completely possessed with the idea of cockroach out of fear, not out of love, out of fear. But it thinks of Kumari poka alone. By constantly thinking of Kumari poka, it becomes Kumari poka. It becomes still. And interestingly, it gets transformed physically into Kumari poka. It's been confirmed by our biologists. Complete change in the physical transformation. See, if that is possible, how it happened? Due to thought. Thought came because of fear. But if the thought comes out of love, it doesn't matter. The Srimati became Krishna not out of fear, but out of love. So our scripture says, when you love God for love's sake, by constantly loving God, you become God and become one with Him. So when the cockroach became Kumari poka, then Sri Ramakrishna says, তখন সবই হয়ে গেল. That is the climax. That is the end which we should have aspire for. We become, our spiritual realization culminates when you get identified with God. When you see God everywhere, both inside and outside, that is the ultimate reality. Then the bhakta and jnani becomes one. The dualism culminates into non-dualism. Though there is many, bhakta does not become God. Bhakta becomes merged in God. There is a wax garden where the difference is there, but there is unity in diversity. Everything is the manifestation of same God. There is no two God. God is one. But if God is one, it does not necessarily mean that He should have only one form. He can have multiple forms, same God. The wax garden may be multiple forms, the same made of wax. So then same is made of Chaitanya, Chaitanya Swarup. Everything is merged in Chaitanya, consciousness. Consciousness has a variety of dimensions, and that is the climax of our spiritual journey. We'll continue this discussion further in our next Sunday class. Niranjanam nityam ananta rupam bhaktanukampa-dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam sirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Let's close with the chanting of the Lord. Please join with me. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om Ramakrishna Hari Om. Now there are important announcements. First is the routine announcement of the weekly program for the coming few days. Day after tomorrow will be the third Bada Mangal of Lucknow. As usual, it will be celebrated with a puja, simple puja of Hanumanji in front of a temple in the morning at 7 o'clock and chanting of Hanuman Chalisa and distribution of Prasad. Evening there will be an Aarti of Hanumanji and chanting of Hanuman Chalisa and Ram Bhajan Itani Binati Raghunandana Se. And on Friday there won't be any Sarda Sang class, but in the evening there will be this Narada Bhakti Sutta class continued. And Saturday as usual there will be Kali Kirtan, and Sunday there will be next Sunday as usual there will be, we have a Japa Jagga every Sunday. All of you can participate, in touch, give your names, we can put you in the slots. And also there will be talk on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna at 10 o'clock. And next Sunday we will have a joint program on the occasion of the 125th anniversary of this foundation of Ramakrishna Mission. We are having a program next Sunday afternoon, the celebration of the Mental Health Day from this 5 to 9 in the afternoon. So 5 to 6:45 will be the celebration of Mental Health Day with some seminars and talks. There will be refreshments, Sandharati, and then evening there is a cultural program that Dr. Biju Bhagavat will present this vocal recital, classical music, and table by Suman Malik will be there, Sumit Malik will be there. That will be announced with a invitation, printed invitation. So all of you are welcome. The most important announcement is our Vice President Maharaj, Srimad Swami Muktinathanandaji, is has kindly consented to visit our center on 21st of June next month, hardly a month ahead, exactly a month ahead. 21st of June, he is consented to visit our center and bestow initiation on 2 days. We have a large number of devotees waiting for Mantra Diksha, spiritual initiation. Kindly register your name immediately, and then we will supply you the requisite textbooks to be studied and followed by a written test to be conducted by us and an interview to prepare the final list of the candidates. The dates of initiation is not yet final, but it will be within the week, within 25th of June. He is coming on 21st. Within that weekend, there will be the initiation days. You can give your preference, options for one of the days and register your name and be in touch with us. You can also communicate this information to those of you who are not yet initiated. Kindly register your name, and those of you who feel that there are others around you who may seek initiation, please communicate this, transfer this information to them, to request them to be in touch with us immediately, because the number is limited. We cannot give more than 2 days, and in a particular day there is the maximum number of seats allowed. Normally he gives 60, but not more than 85. So this number, already we have a large number of candidates waiting. So, and this covers the spiritual aspirants not only of Lucknow and all around. This, we are having Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand Bhav Prachar Parishad. We have many private centers around Lucknow, or 40 centers are there. So the candidates from those centers will be accommodated in our guest house with prior arrangement. Their boarding and lodging has to be provided. Spiritual initiation has to be arranged. It's a big affair. Of course, we won't charge any money from anybody. It's all free for the spiritual welfare of the devotees. So please communicate this news as much as possible, because Maharaj, as these people are very busy. When I approached saying that Srimad Swami Gautamanandaji is unable to visit us this year, he said, I cannot come this year. Only next year I can come. So then he said, I am booked up to December 23. I can come in 24. When I requested very earnestly that somehow he could squeeze some time and give it out, he said, all right, on my visit from Chandigarh, I will come by flight to Lucknow and go back to Belur Math. Because there is Guru Purnima after a week. So the time slot was very limited. But we are very happy by the grace of Thakur that the initiation ceremony can be held. Let us all pray that this becomes very smooth. Revered Maharaj is already very aged. So we pray for his sound health and good climate, because it's a very summer season, peak of heat. So we have to make some arrangement for the initiation and everything. So this is a very happy news, and the devotees must cooperate in coming forward. And I will have this orientation program from next week onwards, Sundays, 11:30 at the old shrine, in explaining what is initiation and why is it necessary for our life. That we'll discuss from next Sunday onwards. Thank you.